What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So it's been roughly 1.5 years since Microsoft announced that they were acquiring Activision Blizzard, and now finally, despite all of the roadblocks and things being put up in front of them, it looks like they are approaching the finish line, and it seems like this thing is going to be closing very, very quickly after a massive decision was made yesterday. We're going to go over all of that, though, here today. Also, we are going to be talking about some major sales that are still live for the Switch, as well as a couple I've thrown in there for the Xbox and the PlayStation 5. Oh, also, we did have a bit of a shakeup at Naughty Dog yesterday, with one of the co-presidents actually retiring after 25 years. So if you guys enjoy these videos, make sure to hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're gonna start today with actually Diablo 4 and a bit of a mix-up here, at least for now, when it comes to its availability on Game Pass. See, an advert started to make the rounds, and I believe it popped up at first in Brazil. It was translated over and essentially read that Diablo 4 was part of Game Pass, so sign up for Game Pass to get access today. Well, we can see it immediately being debunked by Mike Ybarra on Twitter, simply responding to the image saying, "This is not happening." Well, the funny part is this was something that was posted the night before the decision was made in the courts between Microsoft and the FTC. So now people are looking at that saying, well, Diablo 4 is probably coming to Game Pass here fairly soon, but we'll touch on that a bit more during the segment about Microsoft and the FTC. However, this does kind of put Activision Blizzard in an interesting position currently, since, well, a lot of the games that they now have on that Xbox marketplace are probably being viewed just straight up as, oh, these are going into Game Pass, so I'm going to hold out a bit. But at least for now, Diablo 4 not in Game Pass yet. Also, we had previously seen some leaks get out there around Mortal Kombat 1 when it came to the guest characters, and one in particular was like, really, this is a character they're bringing in, and it shouldn't be too surprising because they've done some weird things when it comes to different guest characters from all different genres and movies and TV shows and stuff. I mean, we had Freddy Krueger at one point, fighting Johnny Cage. But in this case, it appears that Homelander is indeed coming to Mortal Kombat 1. We can see this posted up by Idle Sloth. It was screen capped here. And this was apparently someone talking about the Call of Duty collaboration with The Boys on TikTok, which, yeah, that's going on right now. And then you can see below that, Vault International Studios, which, yeah, part of The Boys, was responding to them, saying MK confirmed, and then also saying Homelander will be available at some point. That's all we can say. So there's still some fine details when it comes to, I'm sure, as an assist character or a main character. I think it's going to be like a main character you control and fight as, which, yeah, it's going to look really weird against some of these characters in the Mortal Kombat universe, but we've seen them, again, do some weird stuff. So I like the idea of Homelander being in Mortal Kombat. If you've watched The Boys, he actually should fit in pretty well. Oh, and for all of you Yokai Watch fans out there, it looks like we did have a new entry in the series confirmed once again. This is over on Twitter. We can see translated from the CEO of Level 5 saying, "Today is the 10th anniversary of Yokai Watch. It's early. Thank you for all the celebratory tweets. The 10th anniversary special site has been released, so join us today." Yeah, there's an entire website that they posted up celebrating the 10th anniversary. It's actually pretty cool. I would go check it out. They go on to say the next work that builds on the flow of Yokai Watch is steadily progressing. The announcement is still a little ahead, but please look forward to it. And there were some concerns around Yokai Watch because it's certainly been trending downwards, unfortunately. It was mega popular, years ago, especially in Japan. And just with each entry since, it's just been selling a little less and a little less and a little less. And now it's just not as relevant anymore. But they could, of course, revitalize the entire series with a good game release. But fortunately, they're going to take another swing at it. Just might be a little longer. And in the meantime, though, definitely check out that website. A really cool thing to see, especially for longtime Yokai Watch fans. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the situation between Microsoft and the FTC and the court case that had been going on for a little while with those hearings, 5 or 6 days of some interesting testimony, we'll say, and it didn't seem to go great for the FTC, with the judge having to interject at times and basically tell them, get to the point or that's enough, and a lot of that was going in the FTC's direction, so didn't look great really throughout for them, but still, you never know. Things could, of course, just shown up and be like, yeah, they're granted the injunction, and that would be kind of it for Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, because it would go beyond their July 18th closing, and Microsoft either have to renegotiate or pay up $3 billion to Activision Blizzard. Yeah, like the entirety of what Sony paid for Bungie, Microsoft would just have to hand to Activision Blizzard, and that would kind of be it. But it appears the judge has denied the FTC's request for an injunction, basically stopping Microsoft and Activision Blizzard from closing their deal, at least until later when the FTC can show up and I guess present a better case. But we can see this posted up by The Verge with the decision saying the court finds the FTC has not shown a likelihood it will prevail on its claim this particular vertical merger in this specific industry may substantially lessen competition. To the contrary, the record evidence points to more consumer access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. The motion for a preliminary injunction is therefore denied. Now, they did bring up, and this is going to be something to watch for Microsoft and Activision, Nintendo, and the fact that this game is coming to the Switch, as in like the current one. So Microsoft will have to provide some version of the game for Nintendo's current platform to, really live up to what they've said here in court and at times under oath. So it's all in writing here. We'll see how that turns out. But Judge Corley did say, hey, the Switch is competition to Xbox and Sony and PlayStation. And when you bring Nintendo into the fold, it certainly shows a very competitive scene that Microsoft is trying to be part of. So Activision shifting over to Microsoft, in her mind, wasn't enough to lessen competition. And in fact, as mentioned, yeah, more people are going to technically get to play Call of Duty with it going to these different cloud platforms and Nintendo system. So now at this point, as of Friday, the judge's temporary hold essentially on closing will expire, and that means that Microsoft and Activision Blizzard can move along, and it seems like they might be trying to close this entire thing by July 18th, so they would look to do that next week, on Monday or Tuesday, have all the documents drawn up, signed, and that should be it. Microsoft would own Activision Blizzard. But, of course, they do still have some things they have to work out, like the CMA. Remember, that's still ongoing as they had concerns in the cloud, whereas with what was going on between Microsoft and the FTC pushed hard on the sense of Call of Duty, and it just didn't work out for them with that kind of argument. But the cloud is something that's a bit of a harder thing necessarily to argue back and forth for Microsoft. But we can see this posted up once again on The Verge. Microsoft and UK regulators agree to pause their Activision battle to negotiate. So this happened very, very quickly after that ruling against the FTC was made public, which kind of shows that the CMA is out there on an island, because remember, it's been approved with the EU, and it seemed like many other jurisdictions around the world were approving this deal to where it legitimately just is the CMA out there, and now they want to come back to the table, and there have been some discussions already being had about them maybe having some temporary thing in place, and it seems like that may have to do with them maybe removing Activision Blizzard games, or not adding them in, I should say, to xCloud and cloud streaming, since that's the biggest thing that the CMA is concerned about, that the FTC wasn't: cloud gaming. And to go a bit further, the UK focus was echoed by Phil Spencer in a memo out to employees within Microsoft, saying, after today's decision, we are turning our focus to the UK. As you may be aware, a few months ago, the UK Competition and Markets Authority recommended that the deal be prohibited. We disagree with the CMA's concerns and have challenged its decision on appeal. At the same time, however, we are considering how the transaction might be modified to address the CMA's concerns in a way that is acceptable to the CMA. In order to prioritize work on potential options, Microsoft and Activision have agreed with the CMA that pausing the appeal now would be in the public interest, and both we and the CMA have made a joint submission to the Competition Appeal Tribunal to this effect. Now, it appears Microsoft has a clear path then to close this thing up pretty soon, but of course, there's got to be one little wrinkle, one little twist. Well, this posted up by Bloomberg saying FTC leaning toward appealing Microsoft Activision loss. The agency could file appeal of court loss as soon as Wednesday, but Judge Corley's order pausing deal expires at midnight Friday. And to be honest, I don't think there's enough time for the FTC to officially appeal it and have any kind of temporary injunction or anything in place that they could muster up. I think this deal's closing, and I think it's going to happen like the beginning of next week, because Friday would be when that temporary block that's in place would expire. So the next business day being Monday, I think they probably already have all the stuff drawn up and ready to go, and they're just going to go ahead and file it and get that done just ahead of that July 18th date. So with all of the formal technicalities and stuff discussed here, I do also want to look towards the future here now for Microsoft, considering this deal seems like it's going to be done very, very soon. What happens after that date? Will just a barrage of games from Activision Blizzard immediately go into Game Pass the next day? I think it will take some time, potentially weeks, maybe a month or two. But yeah, I think especially the back catalog from Activision Blizzard will appear in Game Pass, kind of like what happened with Bethesda and ZeniMax. We did see a bit of a blitz of their titles just end up in Game Pass, but Activision Blizzard, they have many titles that can just start appearing in that service, which is obviously massive for Microsoft, considering it will immediately just blow up Game Pass with many, many more titles. And I mean, you can have like Sekiro in there. That'd be pretty cool to have that one. You look at some of the Crash Bandicoot stuff they've done in the past. We've even seen Phil Spencer mention Hexen getting revived for a game. So there's a lot they can do far into the future with development, but stuff immediately can happen, which is pretty exciting, obviously, for Game Pass subscribers. Now, I am curious about something like Diablo 4, considering there are probably many people who had just bought that game and, oh yeah, now it's in Game Pass a month later. That's gonna be frustrating for a lot of people on Xbox. Again, it adds more value. Maybe there's stuff they could figure out there, whether it's in-game currency or items or something there. But hey, at this point, looking towards Call of Duty for 2023, Microsoft is lining themselves up to have a pretty stellar holiday season, especially for that fourth quarter. Starfield, that'd be September. Forza, October. Most likely a new Call of Duty, that being Modern Warfare 3, to round everything out in November. So like 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 big releases, all of which going into Game Pass. Yeah, it's probably how you push a subscription service. But overall, I think most people are just happy to see this deal finally conclude after more than a year. A tug of war back and forth all across the world with regulators everywhere. And finally, it's wrapping up. But mostly it's going to stay the same for people who are in the Call of Duty, because I think that's just going to be a multi-platform game going forward. And in fact, more people will get to play it with it seemingly going to the Switch. We'll see how that turns out. But I guess for Microsoft, they do bolster their overall first-party lineup and their mobile division, which gets a massive boost from something like King. So we'll see how they handle this going forward. I'm very curious to see how they navigate things after owning Activision Blizzard, and maybe what plans they have up their sleeve for potential revivals of things like Hexen. I don't know, maybe they can even bring back Prototype. Next up, let's talk about some big deals that are currently going on for the Switch and the Xbox and the PlayStation. Now, the Switch is usually the most interesting for people because first-party Nintendo games don't really go on sale that often, or at least a sizable discount. But we actually even have Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on sale, and these are physical copies, carts that you get, and you can actually put in the system and take them out, own, rather than have them on a server somewhere. But let's start from the top here with the list, and we'll just kind of scroll through a lot of the Prime sales that are going on, because yes, this is Amazon Prime Day sales, still happening on July 12th. But starting on the top, Mario Odyssey, $30. I know, again, an older game, but it is like one of the best 3D platforming games I've ever played, so I completely recommend that. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at $30, because why not? Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, though, remember, this was a $70 game, now coming in at $52. So that's decent. I know we're used to $60 games still on the Switch, but that is a fair discount, sizable discount from $70. Diofield Chronicles, though, at $25. I enjoy Diofield. I think it's definitely worth a look. Tactics Ogre Reborn, $30. Awesome title. Valkyrie Elysium, $25. Well, it's still not a very good game, but at $25, it at least is getting to that impulse buy or collector's territory in terms of pricing. Soul Hackers 2, though, $15 on the PlayStation 5. I mean, that's pretty good. One Piece Odyssey, that's half off at $30. No More Heroes 3. This is kind of like a box set that they've released on other platforms, coming in at $20. definitely a good pickup for collectors out there. Rune Factory 5 coming in at $20. I had mentioned yesterday that we are seeing storage prices drop significantly for the PlayStation 5 with those NVMe drives, and that continues on with Prime Day. The Samsung 980 Pro 2 terabyte at $100. I saw some people ask if a 4 terabyte would work for that. Yes, you can use a 4 terabyte NVMe inside your PlayStation 5 and take advantage of some of these deals. I also saw the Xbox Series S. This is renewed, so it is kind of a roll of the dice, I'll admit, from Amazon was $200. I mean, an Xbox Series S for $200. That's wild stuff. And this isn't part of Amazon Prime Day, but I saw this floating around and I didn't even realize it until yesterday, but there is a 6-month Apple TV Plus trial that's available for PlayStation users right now, and you just sign into the app on your PlayStation console, PS4 or PS5, and you'll just get 6 months added to your Apple ID for Apple TV Plus. So why not? But of course, let me know if there are any deals you spotted on Amazon Prime Day, whether it's for different games, accessories, or even storage upgrades. I'm sure SD cards, for example, right now are dirt cheap. And I know Amazon Prime Day is typically for tablets, TVs, appliances, kitchen accessories, that kind of thing. But it is fun to see different games that are physical, right? Again, for the collection, go on sale 50, even 60% off. So definitely some suggestions down below. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a shakeup that's happening at Naughty Dog, as Evan Wells, who's a co-president next to Neil Druckmann, is actually retiring. This was posted up over on Naughty Dog's website yesterday, where they say today Evan Wells announced that after 25 years at Naughty Dog, he'll be retiring at the end of 2023. While he will very much still be part of the studio leadership team until his departure, he and I have spent much of the past couple of years building a leadership structure that reflects our growing team at the kennel and sets us up for the future. As Evan has pointed out, our good fortune has led to immense and steady growth. With that kind of success and size comes the need to reevaluate how we structure a studio leadership team that reflects the next chapter for Naughty Dog. At president, I will be co-head of the studio with Evan Wells, along with taking on the responsibilities of head of creative, ensuring that I will be able to invest in the future of our products, creative vision, and overall business strategy. And when I mention it's a shakeup, it really is, because they go over several different positions that are shifting around, people who are taking new leadership. There's a lot happening there at Naughty Dog. And Evan Wells, I mean, he's retiring because obviously he's been in games for a long time. They mentioned 25 years, right? But he's been around since 1993. His first game was Toe Jam and Earl. He's a lead tester in level design. He's worked on Gex, and obviously when he gets to Naughty Dog, this being in 1998, again 25 years ago, Crash Bandicoot, Jak 2, Jak 3, Jak X, and then he eventually obviously took the lead at Naughty Dog and started working on Uncharted, right? That entire series, The Last of Us. So yeah, quite the resume there for Evan Wells. And I am curious, I guess, where we go from here with Naughty Dog. Again, Neil Druckmann still being there in charge in that leadership position. I think they're still full speed ahead on their current projects, but it is interesting that this comes on the heels of hearing the news that there was a situation with their Factions multiplayer, and it seemed like Bungie kind of said, no, we got to put that back in the oven, or even cancel it or put it on the back burner for now. And then people started moving from that to what we assumed to be Last of Us Part 3 or some new intellectual property that they're working on. Maybe Evan Wells saw this as a good in-between point to kind of step aside and really just move into retirement and ride off into the sunset. But again, a very storied career, and good luck to Evan Wells at the end of the year when he leaves and enjoys the second half of life after game development. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're going to take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, are you picking up Exoprimal? 19% say yes, I'm going to download it on Game Pass. Okay. 3% say yes, I'm buying it at retail or digital. 78% say no, I'm not interested. To be honest, I kind of forgot this game was coming out this week. I was reminded by, I think Nate reminded me again, and I wanted to at least try the game out. So it going into Game Pass is good for me, just because I'm still unsure of this title. I know it's cool when all the dinosaurs fall out of the sky. I wonder if that'll get kind of old quickly, but I would like to see a new Dino Crisis game come out. I know this isn't that, but I'll at least give it a shot. I have a hard time looking at it and shaking the memories of Anthem because it just looks so much like it. But I'll give it a shot. It's on Game Pass, why not? And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Lank saying, I kind of hope Nintendo does do another March spring launch of the new system. I don't think they need the holiday to push the sales up because it will sell very well on its own, and launching in spring allows for those who will definitely get it, i.e. me being one, to pick it up at launch and reduce the stress of stock during the holiday for those who wait until then to pick one up, which in my opinion would increase overall sales because they aren't running into stock issues while also decreasing the chance they will be scalped. Yeah, I like the idea, as you're mentioning, that it comes out early in the year. And then they have time to sort through stock and demand and really map out their holiday better so that you don't run into the situation of the system has now launched in November and it's already out of stock and they can't get stock to stores fast enough for that December push. Makes a lot of sense to go this route. And I would actually prefer them to do it that way. It's just, it makes to me a ton of sense, but I don't know. For some reason, these companies are just really in love with launching during the holiday season. I feel like it's kind of archaic now since gaming is just super, like, really, really popular. You can launch it whenever you want. To be honest, Nintendo could announce tomorrow that the system is coming out in October, and everyone would probably still go out and buy one and it would sell out. So whenever they want to announce it and then launch it, they pretty much can. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Was the Microsoft Activision Blizzard saga coming to an end, it seems, here in the next couple of days? And then also, what about Amazon Prime Day with some of those sales for the Switch, the Xbox, or the PlayStation 5? And then Naughty Dog, bit of a shakeup there with Evan Wells leaving. How do you think this is going to affect their studio going forward? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.